Welcome back to the Pull Podcast. I am your host, Big Jack, as usual, bringing you the best guests around. Today we have with us Kori Stevenson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Of course. I appreciate you making time in your schedule.
Absolutely.
And having you here. You know, obviously, I think you know a little bit about us because you follow us. We deal with real stories, raw struggles, powerful comebacks. It's important because, we're a recovery-based podcast and trying to, inspire people and bring hope to those that may be still out there. Your story is your power. And so we'd like to get into that if that's okay.
So I want to preface this, though. I got to tell you that when I found out that I was going to be on this podcast, the first thing that I thought was that I'm not good enough to be on it. And my mind just starts pecking at me. And it goes two places. It goes to my intellect. I'm not smart enough. I need to get clever immediately. Mm-hmm. And then it goes to my physique. Always. And it trips me out because I think that alcoholism, you can have 10 checks in the winning column, but it's still going to try to convince you you're a loser.
Yeah, that one check maybe.
Yeah, it's just the one check.
And a lot of the times it's not even really a check. It's just something we're self-conscious about.
No, right? It's not reality at all.
No,
but yeah, I wanted to have like the Matrix experience where I like get more clever immediately, like, help me to download being more clever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I
don't think that exists.
No, not yet.
No,
not yet.
Soon.
So yeah, childhood. I mean, I actually had a pretty happy childhood. I had parents that really loved each other deeply. But like everybody else, they go into the parenting gig, and I include myself in this, with their own struggles and their own backgrounds. And they were kind of the perfect pairing for one another. Like one of my parents is the adult child of an alcoholic. And another one of my parents was part of a military family and was deeply attached to her father. And she has a younger brother and a younger sister that were born like 14 months after her.
Wow.
So she had kind of this impression that she wasn't very loved or she wasn't cared for by her mother. Her mother was likely very overwhelmed.
Was it middle child syndrome?
I don't know if it was middle child. I mean, she was the oldest, but it's like I think that she had to develop some sort of resiliency from a really early age because the mother was overwhelmed. I mean, her father was often overseas.
Well, you almost become a third parent.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think that she had this impression that her mother didn't really love her. Which is so unfortunate because I'm sure that she did, but to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of laying the groundwork for my parents. And so they, had what I perceived to be a very happy marriage. And then, but I always had this fear that something was going on with my mom. And I think that so both my parents are still living, thankfully. And I think that she would probably remember this, that I was very clingy towards her. And would often cry at night, like that I didn't want to leave her. Because there's this like a certain time in a child's life where they figure it out. It's like around 9, 10, or 11, where they're like, oh, I'm not going to always live with you. It just occurs to you that you're going to be an adult and you're going to leave. And I remember being really deeply concerned about leaving my mom. And I can reflect back on it now. And I think it's because I knew that she was going to leave. And I sensed something was amiss with her. And, eventually, my grandfather, her father, who she was very close with, died. And I've had the opportunity to speak with her about this really candidly, about what her experience was, specifically when I was in graduate school. And she said that when he died, it felt like something broke inside of her. And that is what changed the family dynamic. I want to be really clear, though, that my mother's not the reason why I'm an alcoholic, right? No one's the reason that I'm an alcoholic.
No. Do you believe you were born one?
I do. I think so. I mean, my temperament is such that when I was a child, I still held on to those beliefs, right? That I led with, of not feeling like I was good enough, not feeling like I was smart enough. That was a really big thing for me. I remember I would, library day was like the day, right? When you're in elementary school. And I remember instead of like taking out books that were perhaps grade level or appropriate for me, that I would check out like encyclopedias or like exceptionally large books. And then I would systematically like walk around my campus because I wanted people to see me and to make an assumption that I was smart.
Yep.
So highly sensitive, like too sensitive, right?
I can identify with that.
Yeah, right? Where you're like, but mouthy, super mouthy. And also, Always the class clown.
Of course.
Always. So it's kind of an interesting pairing to be like highly sensitive and then to attract that kind of attention and then to attract those kinds of consequences and then to be like, so injured by the consequences that you yourself create.
Sure.
But yeah, my temperament was such that, and my mind still operates at a pace that, it was definitely fertile ground for alcoholism.
Sure. Do you think the humor and the class clown thing was more of like a bravado front? Look at me, but don't look too close, or like look at what I'm showing you and not what is really here. Do you think that's more like a coping mechanism?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, like even sharing my story now at this stage of my sobriety is really different than when I used to share it.
Sure.
Because I think I just felt, and I think that's a really good sign, right? That there's just less posturing. But I felt like I had to do that.
Yeah.
And
save face.
Definitely. And it also came naturally to me. And I do enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think I've learned now that there's kind of a time and a place, and also that it's not, you can't substitute that for dropping in and showing some sort of vulnerability.
Sure.
But the way that I think about alcoholism, as somebody who has 2 children, right, is that I feel like nature loads the gun and nurture fires it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and it's I didn't come up with it. I wish that I did. I listened to a lot of Gabor Mate.
Yeah.
Who's like I'm like obsessed with, like a little like low key crush. But and he talks about like we focus so much on the trigger. What's the trigger? And like listen, I work in mental health care, dude. The word trigger, it's got to go.
It's got to go.
It's got to go.
It's so overused.
It's reached. We're done. We need to come up with something different. And you know what? Actually, I should ChatGPT it, because I'm sure that we could probably start a new trend on this podcast.
Yeah, we'll call it a Kori.
Yeah, call it a
Kori.
Can you imagine? Just call it a Kori. Like that's firing the gun for sure. But he talks about like we're really hyper focused on the trigger, but it's like we never talk about why the gun was loaded.
Sure.
And so like when you have this this kind of intersection of being a highly sensitive child, having a really rambunctious mind that is often hateful, right? It even happens in the present day. If the gun gets fired, right? So it's conceivable that my mother exiting the family is firing the gun. I don't blame her. I think that she was doing the best that she could as somebody who's been married a long time.
Yeah.
So in this kind of scenario, like everyone's guilty, but nobody's to blame, right? I can acknowledge that everybody was doing the best that they could, but I can also acknowledge in my own experience and also in the experience of other people that when a parent abruptly leaves the family, it shatters the child. So I was shattered by that. I'm not shattered by it now, but I was shattered by that.
How old were you?
I was 13 when she initially left. And then, and it would best be described as like a midlife crisis, right?
Sure.
So she was lost.
Well, you're having to function in a whole new way, like instantly.
Yeah. And I just was so in love with her. And I'm still so in love with her now, but she just, something broke.
Yeah.
And you and I both know that, the odds are pretty good that people are going to be lost at some point in their lifetime and they don't choose it. And she didn't choose it. This was entirely out of her control. And I think my parents tried to make it work for a couple of years, and then eventually they ended up divorcing. That was when the substance usage started.
Okay. So around 13, 14?
Yeah, I think the first time I got drunk was, I think, late 14, early 15.
Okay. Do you remember it vividly?
Oh, boy, do I
Sounds like there's a story behind that.
Well, here's what I would say. I drank alcoholically from the jump.
Yeah.
The jump. It was a fifth of Gilby's.
Jesus.
A fifth, right? So
a 14-year-old? Fifth of Gilby's?
Fifth. I was staying the night at my friend Lisa M's house.
I know how this ended.
And that, right from the jump, I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. It has brought me up to the level of my peers. People who I do not feel like I measure up to. It made me more funny.
Yeah, you didn't have to carry us an encyclopedia around anymore.
No, not anymore. No. Yeah, no, I was more funny. I was more attractive. I was more everything. And I did it that first night. And the way that I describe it is like it's like a dove being released from a cage.
Sure.
Or like, seeing Bo Derek like run down the beach the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like
I don't know what pivotal. You mean on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, you've never seen Bo Derek run down the beach?
I certainly wouldn't be looking if he was.
No, Bo is a woman.
Oh.
Yes.
See, I don't even know who that is.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Uh-oh. After this ends, I'm gonna show you Bo Derek running down the beach.
Yeah, Jesse, can you pull that up?
Pivotal time in the history of men was watching Bo Derek run down the beach. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about when we pull this
I know
up.
Pamela Anderson running down the beach.
Fine. Okay. Right? And she's got like the red floaty.
Exactly.
And you're just like dying to be saved.
Yeah. I just wanted to drown at that point.
Of course. I mean, throw yourself in the water, right? No, I can relate to that. So yeah, it was that feeling of like, this is the best thing ever. And then the next night I asked to stay at Lisa M's house again. Mm-hmm. And I did the exact same thing.
Well, so you had to have been hungover like crazy.
Oh my God. I like puked on the way home.
Sure.
Right next to where my mom worked. It's Alta Heights Elementary School. I grew up in Napa. And like she pulled over and I totally just puked it all out. But funny enough, she had no idea.
Wow.
She had no clue.
Well, maybe it sounded like she was going through her own stuff. She was probably in her own head.
Yeah, both of them were equally devastated, I would say. Mm-hmm. One was way more obvious. The devastation was way more clear from my father because it looked, for many years, it looked like she was kind of the perpetrator and he was the wounded, right? I know that that's not necessarily the case now because, like I said, I've been married a long time. I know this is complicated and I've done a lot of work around this particular situation. But yeah, they were both completely entrenched in their own suffering.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the hardest things as a parent because you're going to suffer and you're going to be entrenched and you're going to fail.
Nobody ever stops learning. Even at 99, you're probably learning something new, right? Whether it's a parenting tactic or something along those lines. Like nobody actually has this thing figured out.
Ever. No. Yeah. And let's hope, right? At age 99, we're still learning something.
I mean, yeah, hopefully we all make it there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I threw up on the way home, but I had a lot of, the way that I would describe it is that like, when you're bowling and you can like put the gutter things in. So I had a lot of gutters for quite a while. And those are people in my life, especially one of my volleyball coaches, Barb Franco was her name. She's still alive. And she was a gutter, right? I was a really big athlete in my high school. And she was somebody who was very consistent in my life and kind of stepped in, when my parents didn't have the capabilities to do so during this kind of adjustment, right?
You mean like a bumper in the gutter?
Yes, a bumper in the gutter. Maybe I'm not explaining that.
Yeah, no. I get it though. I get the analogy. It's to protect you from going in the gutter.
Yes.
You're right, the bumper. Yeah.
Yes, the bumper in the gutter, right? Okay. So I had a lot of bumpers.
Sure.
And sometimes it was like adults like that. And then other times, I kind of had this tendency to be a real chameleon. Like I would date a guy who was like a hardcore Catholic, right? So then I'm like, well, but not like hardcore, like, drunken family, but like, actually like a devoted dude. You know what I mean? So then like I kind of keep my act clean.
Sure.
I dated a guy who was a type 1 diabetic for a long time. He didn't drink very much, right? So then I'm like, okay, good. We can kind of keep things dormant.
That's fascinating. You remember like trying to like manage your drinking around people that you would date?
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I won't drink as much if I'm with this person?
Yeah, I think it was more like this unconscious thing of like, I'm going to shack up with this dude he's a good influence on me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's good. He's just another bumper that's going to keep me out of the gutter. Right.
Fascinating.
Which isn't to say that I didn't drink while I was dating these dudes, of course.
Yeah, I know. And you said, you think it was more subconscious?
I think it was more subconscious.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But they also are an example of a bumper in the gutter.
Right. They served the purpose.
They did. And so I moved out of my house at 17. I was living with my mom. I, chose to live with her. There was much more lax boundaries in those houses. You know what I mean? So it's like my dad has always been very consistent of...
Was he the military?
No, that was her father who was the military.
Got it.
No, my dad's an engineer. Okay. And, but, he's a pretty sensible dude and he just doesn't play. Like he would actually wait up.
Well, everything's calculated.
Yeah. So, we're going to wait up for you. Whereas the other house was much more lenient, I would say. So I gravitated towards that house. But man, the fighting, there was so much conflict. It was a war zone. And so I'll give you an example. I was in the jail on Monday night. So I have the opportunity to visit both the local
By choice.
By choice. They let me go. And I'm so thankful when they let me go.
Right.
My God. And I also get like super anxious when they're like about to let me go, because I'm like, you're gonna let me go, right? But I was in the jail, and then I'm in San Quentin on Sunday and on Thursday this week. So I get the opportunity to go in there and have recovery meetings in those spaces, which I love. And but there was a woman there who was talking about how angry she was. And she's just like, I'm just so angry. And now I can look at that, like women like that, and go, man, who hurt you? Mm-hmm. Because for me, I was incredibly explosive as a teenager, right? It was just like, fuck you, like all day long. Mm-hmm. No respect for my mother. But really, it was because I was so deeply hurt, right? I was hurt by her. I was hurt by the situation. And I could not go there. And it's, something I've really had to work on actually in my marriage. I'm cracking up about it because it's been a minute, but like this is the kind of baggage that I came into my marriage with, that I thought this is how people solve problems and they argue. They just tell each other to go fuck off. And it's like, that's actually not true.
Hurt people.
Yes,
right?
It was exactly like that. So anyway, I lived in Napa for a while. I was a bartender.
Of course.
Obviously. And then eventually I moved to Chicago. And I moved there. I don't think I've ever ridden the bus before I moved to Chicago. I mean, it was just a quaint little Napa life. I moved there because I wanted to be on Second City. Yeah, so I wanted to take improv classes at Second City to eventually get onto SNL. That was my big dream.
Wow.
And I didn't share it for a really long time because it's embarrassing.
Why?
It's embarrassing because I lived in Chicago for 8 years. And at one point I lived in Old Town, which is near where Second City is. And I never took a class. Right. So I showed up and I did a total geographic.
Was it due to alcoholism?
Yes.
Yeah.
So those, the bumpers that we talked about that are keeping me out of the gutter, there's no more bumpers.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Chicago, it got turned up big time. And so, yeah, I didn't share that a lot. I didn't share that publicly, or I didn't share that in any sort of recovery circle because I just was
felt
kind
like
of
a failure.
Totally.
Yeah.
For years,
yeah.
I felt like a
That's
failure.
Fair.
Yeah. And I thought that it was very shameful. And I just thought to myself, like, who does that? And then I've come to learn that actually alcoholics.
Every single alcoholic,
alcoholics do it all the time. And I've also been assured, of like the heroine's journey, right? I've been assured, and I can't have delusions about how I would have shown up for that. Right? I mean, would I have knocked it out of the park? I was an active alcoholic. I was a drug addict. Like, it's like, no. Right? So any delusions of like grandeur, like those have to be smashed too.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't meant for me necessarily. But it was a hard thing to make peace with for quite a while.
I believe that.
Yeah. So moved to Chicago. Loved it.
Was it safer back then?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was on the north side, so I wasn't like kicking it in like the south side or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I was on the north side of Chicago. Anybody who has lived in Chicago will tell you that like living in Lincoln Park in your early 20s, that is like the mecca for drinking and hookup culture. And oftentimes I'll share that like, I was a floozy. Like, I'm exactly what you think I was. That's usually how I start when I share in any sort of recovery setting. I'm like, I'm exactly what you think I was. Because sometimes I'll hear the compliment kind of thrown out where it's like, oh my God, I can't imagine you drunk. And it's like, no one has said that to me. Not a once has anybody said that to me. And
you seem like you'd be a good time.
I mean, I think that I was for the most part. But I mean, like, I was wearing the halter tops, right? The Bebe jeans with the rhinestone ass.
Watch out.
100%, right? So the heels are on, and I could rattle off 50 bars in Chicago off the top of my head, easy.
If my husband knew you by first name?
Well, I don't know about that, but like they probably knew me by sight, right? and they may have like, girded their loins a little bit.
It's that chick again.
Yeah, or like stock it up. If my husband was here, we could get easily to 100, right? But yeah, I mean, I loved it. And the majority of my drinking was actually a really good time. And I think that sometimes in recovery settings, we don't necessarily discuss that like we discuss so many good and wonderful and powerful things and important things. But I think that there's this idea that if you discuss how much you loved alcohol and how much you loved boozing, that you might influence somebody else or kind of talk them in to relapse or something like that, which isn't an idea that I subscribe to. I think it's important to discuss like recovery and the solution, right? Like we're not going to stay here all day talking about me and my halter tops, unfortunately. But I think there should be some acknowledgement there.
I don't disagree. My drinking started off almost medicinally, where I wouldn't drink to excess right away, but it's progressive. And I think that's the important factor to mention is the fact that it starts off as fun.
Sure.
It just doesn't stay that way if you're an alcoholic.
No, it's completely unsustainable.
Honestly, like if you are an alcoholic and you can avoid consequences for long enough, you'll probably just die from it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your body will just stop working.
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard some definition of addiction the other day was that, when you use something in an excessive manner to kind of, modify the way that you feel or to increase your dopamine over and over and over again, and there's significant consequences, but you persist, that's addiction.
Yeah,
right?
That's a pure definition.
And in the present day, it's my phone. Right? I mean, I can turn anything into addiction.
Anything that feels good, tastes good, looks good, all that.
Yes.
This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Creekside Recovery.
So anyway, back to Chicago, right? So we're going out every night. This is a good time. Good time. Hung out with people who drank like me, right? And who were really interested in the things that I was interested in, which was like just debauchery. And then eventually, it got really dark, as it does, right? So the debauchery transitions into theft. I was a big thief. Loved stealing.
Like a pickpocket or like a home invasion?
No, not home invasion. Probably could have gotten to that. No, every job that I worked, I stole from. Every single job.
Yeah, right? Cash register.
So the cash register, I mean, that's just like low-hanging fruit, right? Like I'd been doing that for a long time. But then like I ended up being like not only a bartender, but then a liquor rep for the biggest distributor in the state of Illinois.
You really didn't have a chance.
It was, and so like, I mean, I would use it for trade, right? I mean, all over the place, by the way. I mean, the local Starbucks was giving me like a pound of coffee for a bottle of wine. I mean, I was getting spray tans with this. Like, I mean, it was literally, I was bartering. I was bartering with stuff that didn't belong to me, right? And pulling things not necessarily to like actually sell them, but to just drink them, right? Wow. So theft was a big thing. Or like if you and I were like hanging out at the bar and you like admired the painting on the wall, I'd be like, well, let's go. I mean, you want that? Yeah. Well, I take that. And I have examples of this. This has actually happened, right?
In your house?
No. No, but I mean, but that's the thing. That's where the line gets drawn, right? Where it's like, if you were a normal person, you'd be like, I just admired it. I don't want it. But meanwhile, I'm standing up and I'm ripping that thing off the wall. I'm like,
you want it, you got it.
You want it, you got it, right? And then, so, I mean, I have friends that knew me when I was drinking, and they remember those nights. And I'm like, I don't remember it. I don't. And it wasn't just because I was blacked out. It was because this is normal behavior for me.
Wow.
Just to be super reckless, get behind the wheel because I had places to go.
Me too.
100%.
Music in the car when you're hammered?
Oh, forget it.
The best.
Yeah. And if you remembered your joint, I mean, now we're talking, right? The last time that I drank was November 30th of 2005. That's not my sobriety date. My sobriety date is June 6th of 2006. So 666, the day of the devil.
Yeah.
It was not planned, but
thankfully
it's a little bit applicable.
I'd have questions otherwise.
Sure. Yeah. And so, but that night, I was drinking Makers, out of the bottle. Right?
Yeah.
I was at work. Lukewarm Makers. And then, my friend needed a ride home on like the north side. So I'm going from like the Millennium Park area to like the north side of Chicago. We get to their house. They're locked out. They live on the second floor. And so I start climbing the scaffolding to then break into their apartment, right? Because as I do, right? Nothing is stopping me from this.
Do you remember this?
No, I remember like kind of moments of the scaffolding, right? That it was like not particularly a stable environment, one would say. And I break into their apartment. We drink a little more. We smoke a little more. And then I drive home. And I throw up in an alleyway and I park my car. And like, this is a Tuesday. This isn't a Saturday, right? This is not a special occasion or like a big night. This is just how I rolled. And really what ended up eventually happening. So you can imagine this is over and over and over again. My day's like Groundhog Day. It is. I wake up, I'm on something. Usually it was alcohol. I smoked 2 ounces a month of marijuana.
Nice.
I didn't share. Was a very stingy stoner, right? And then like this was a time, you know, where if you go to a club and you'd ask for pills, right? Or you'd buy, you know, MDMA, whatever you thought it was, you'd take the pill and then you'd ask what was in it, right?
Sure.
I mean, this is a totally different time. Like
there wasn't fentanyl back then.
Oh, no. So I mean, like blow, like whatever I could get my hands on, like I was happy to do.
Sure. And
what eventually happened to me is that I developed an eating disorder. And so I had a friendship in Chicago with these chicks. They went to University of Kansas. I mean, I don't know if you've ever partied with a Jayhawk, but it's like these girls know how to drink. I was friends. I was in this friend group, and then I had a falling out with one of the friends who I was very close with. We're done now. We're not friends anymore. We're not in contact anymore. It was like this severing.
Was it due to alcohol?
No, I think it was more like friend. It was just like, you know, I mean, they were probably done with my shit, probably, but it wasn't anything like specific. It was probably more cumulative, you know, because at this point I'm getting kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, you
right?
said
There's
Groundhog's
problems.
Day. Yeah.
And so that severing and that feeling really replicated the feeling that I had earlier in my life when my mother left. Right. So I wasn't aware of that level of dependency.
Sure.
So it was, while it was an explosion as an adolescent, it became an implosion as an adult.
Interesting.
And so
Now, is this stuff that you only could see after the fact, like now that you're sober?
Very much so.
You weren't realizing this at the time?
No.
Okay.
No, in fact.
Well, because it seems so wise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work around this, and I'm glad to hear that it sounds like, you know, wise.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes.
And I'm kind of coming to some of those own conclusions in my life as we speak.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's so it was like, if you can imagine that tidal wave of acting out when I was a teenager, like just kind of condensed, and then it was just against me.
The
It's all
implosion.
against me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, eventually, I mean, I was an anorexic with bulimic tendencies. So I starved myself all day. And if I did eat, which was pretty rare, it was very strategic. It was usually something very soft that I could force myself to vomit up. And the good news is that, you know, your body really repairs itself, right? But, you know, like the enamel on my back teeth, that's never going to repair itself.
Right.
So that's really what ended up getting me into recovery. And it was sincere fear that I was going to die.
That's what it took for me.
Yeah. It's like, but that was like the only thing that I had kind of going for me. Because at the time I was 26, couldn't pay my bills, forced my mother to pay my bills for me because I felt like she owed it to me. Right. So a lot of entitlement, you know, really grinding her face in the perceived mess that I thought she had made. Right.
Wow.
So not self-supporting.
Did you try to did you make her feel guilty?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I made her feel guilty. For sure. I exploited her. So can't pay my bills, right? Barely able to hold down a job. I lost a lot of jobs because of my alcoholism, because of my drug addiction, right? And because of stealing. But I mean, you would love this, right? Like, I mean, I would like get canned from a job. And then my friends would be like, oh my God, you don't work there anymore? And I would be like, yeah, like, I mean, it's totally fucked up. But like this guy was working on the line and he was a cook, you know, and he would be like super sweaty. And I'm like, hey, can I get you something to drink? Like I felt like he was dehydrated. And then they fired me because I gave the drink away. Like I would lie so much when I was using and make myself look like a saint. Like
Sure.
I got fired because I gave a dehydrated man a drink of water.
You probably told the lie so much that you actually started believing it yourself.
Absolutely. I told people I went to Cal.
Nice.
It's amazing, right? I went to Cal and I was a college dropout. Total dropout, but I told people I went to Cal. But that's the thing, when you're in a city that's thousands of miles away, right? I mean, this is before social media, iPhones,
Sure.
all of that. You can really recreate yourself.
Yeah, no fact checking going on.
No facts checked. And also because it was making up for that deficit, right? So eating disorder, concerned that I was going to die. There was a girl that I grew up with that died from bulimia in Napa, and her mother was brave enough to actually be clear about what she died from. And her name was Andrea, and she was a really smart girl. She didn't like touch me with a 10-foot pole. I mean, we're talking about a girl that really had her shit together, right? And but I remember that her daughter died from bulimia as due to an electrolyte imbalance. And so I was really fearful that that was going to happen to me. Absolutely, it did not occur to me that I was an alcoholic or a drug addict. That was not even on the table. What was going to take me out was my anorexia and bulimia.
Well, it kills you faster than alcoholism.
Yeah, I mean,
generally speaking,
right?
Yeah.
And I remember I went to an internet cafe. I mean, this is like
when the internet just started.
An internet cafe. Yeah. Like, I mean, come on, right? Like an internet cafe. Like, I feel like I'm totally dating myself, but I did. I went to an internet cafe, and I remember how self-conscious I felt, right? Like people are totally like giving a shit when I'm Googling, right?
Sure.
And I Googled eating disorder Chicago, and I made one phone call, and he got back to me. And so that was my doctor that I started to work with. And his name's Dr. Jonathan Sherman. I don't know if he's still in practice. I continue to keep in touch with him here or there. And he helped me save my life, essentially.
It's amazing.
And also recognize my alcoholism. So for the first 6 months of treatment, I worked with him, and I worked with a nutritionist as well, she's a nurse, Rebecca Bond. And they worked kind of in tandem. So I knew that they were like talking about me behind my back and like, working, like kind of tag teaming me. And, but for the first 6 months, I showed up to therapy under the influence, which it turns out is like not nearly as effective. No, it just doesn't work nearly as well. But that night that I described to you, where I threw up in an alleyway, I went into my apartment. And I was keeping a food journal because I had to write down everything that I ate, right? I'm weighed, blind, my blood pressure's taken. I mean, it's humiliating to have an eating disorder. It is humiliating. And it is also, you feel so powerful. It is equal parts both. Because on one hand, you acknowledge that like almost childlike, you can't feed yourself, right? Like you're aware that you hate yourself so much that you want to withhold just nourishment and care. But on the other hand, you have this like superiority complex of just like, look at you. Like, it's like, man, look at me. Like, it has such a grip, very similarly to addiction.
Sounds awful.
It's pretty awful, I gotta say. And the delusion was strong.
Well, that's the scary part, right?
Few people appreciate a good delusion more than me.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that I was God's gift and potentially the most attractive woman ever. And my hair was falling out. I mean, and I just thought like, man, I'm the shit. I thought that the lifestyle that I led as a liquor rep who, would be going to like bar openings, my halter tops, whatever, right? I thought that was glamorous. Mm-hmm. I thought it was hip. I thought it was enviable. Mm-hmm. I thought I was it girl. I really did. Well,
I wonder if at the time, because I believe it's your disease that comes up with these delusions, right? Yeah. And so maybe it's because you weren't following the SNL path that you had to grip onto something else.
Sure.
To say that I'm still her. Yeah. I'm still that person.
I'm still fabulous. Uh-huh. Still soaking up all the attention in the room. And I'm sure that even during that time, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a class at Second City or whatever. You know what I mean?
That was still part of the delusion. That's what you would probably tell people, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is my dream. And it's like, meanwhile, I just go home and like my alcoholic closet, you know what I mean? And so yes, the eating disorder, let's go back to that night, I wrote in my food journal, in very slurred writing, in like a black Sharpie, that I was an addict and I needed help. And so that was my spiritual experience, right? So this girl who was like, hell-bent on killing herself, right? Hell-bent, whether it's like starving myself, whether it's driving under the influence, whether it's, by this point, I had put myself in very dangerous situations on the regular. Mm-hmm. So, I'm that girl that was walking home visibly impaired at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. by myself in the streets of Chicago, right? I stop by this place called La Bamba and I get burritos as big as my head, right? I'd be like, I want the chorizo and sour cream. You know, I would just be slurring my words, eat half the burrito, drop the other half. Cause I don't care, right? I'm going to throw it in your yard, right? Like, I mean, I just don't care, right? The world is kind of my receptacle. I had dated guys that,
I like that.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever, you know, I'm just going to let it all hang. What's the big deal? I'm just going to throw a half-eaten burrito in your yard. What's the problem? You know? And meanwhile, these hardworking people are waking up in the morning and like, what the fuck, you know?
They got to shovel snow and burrito.
Dude, seriously, right? Or they got little kids and it's like, they got to answer this question. They can't answer that question. Why is half a chorizo burrito in my yard?
Why is there a pack of raccoons in my front yard?
For real. So, I mean, like, total, like, no reverence for society or like people. And, you know, at one point I dated a guy that, I mean, in the middle of the night, we were, you know, on the west side of Chicago scoring kilos, right? For distribution. Mm-hmm. And there's 6 or 8 men and I'm the only female.
Dangerous.
Like, you're just running and gunning on the west side, you know?
Just this little white girl.
Yeah, picking up
Napa.
kilos for distribution. Yeah. How did this happen? I mean, this is quite a fall from grace. So like, you know, dangerous situations, all of that, like very minimal care for my well-being or whether I was going to survive or not. But the spiritual experience, this moment in time where it was like a weightlessness and it was like, holy shit.
It was a moment of clarity.
Yeah. Like, this is not sustainable. And I went to my therapist the next day and God bless him. He's not an alcoholic. He's like an annoying drinker. Like he like has like half a drink.
I hate those people.
I hate it. I got nothing in common with those people. I mean, to this day, I'm just like, stop. It's so wasteful, you know? And I remember he looked at me and he was like, oh my God, like you're an alcoholic. And I was like, oh, tell me another one. Like, you should go on the road with that shit. That's hilarious, right? Because I was so ignorant about it. I was like, you know, not only am I like a female, I'm white, and I like, look at me. I'm like a size 0. Like, I mean, I've got it going on. And he was like, no, I'm sure of it. You're an alcoholic and you need to go to a meeting. And I just was like, and by the grace of God, I listened to him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Because that's a tough thing to say to people.
Yeah, I think by this point, he was probably a little fed up with me, to be honest with you, Chuck. I think he was just like, oh my God.
I'm not listening to any more of this. Go get some help.
For him, he said, we've spoken about it since. And he's like, yeah, I mean, he's been able to pick out more alcoholics in his practice because that's his specialty, is working with eating disorders. So now he's like, oh man, I got your number. I got your number big time because you're doing whatever Kori was doing. Yeah, he's figured it out.
Yeah, I don't think it's uncommon. I think we all kind of maneuver similarly.
Yeah, definitely. And that all of these addictions and things, there's a lot of comorbidity, right? So I went to a meeting and I went to this meeting and I was like, it's like 2:00 on a Wednesday. And nobody in the room looked like me. No, I don't think anybody was a female. I was wearing like a Jack Daniels t-shirt, right? It was a very fitted little, you know, like kind of like half top, right? You know, because I'm still in the party zone. And just couldn't help it. And I mean, I knew that this is where I belonged. I didn't want it. I didn't want anything to do with it. I wanted the consequences to stop. I didn't want to learn how to drink. No. I didn't want any of that. But I knew that this is where I belonged. And I got a boot on my car in front of my first meeting. And it was for over $2,000 in parking tickets.
Wow. And
this was the 3rd time that I had gotten a boot for over $2,000 in parking tickets.
And that's a lot of money in 2005 or
yeah,
6.
2006. Yeah. So the scoreboard says that I owe $6,000 on a car that's worth $4,000. And I walked back in the meeting and I felt so sorry for myself. And I really wanted you to feel sorry for me too, you know, because I'm a victim in this case. And the city of Chicago had it out for me, right? Like I was obviously like, you know, their total priority that day. And
they're picking on you.
Yeah, they're picking on me. And I'm in a meeting. Can you imagine?
I'm trying to do something right.
I'm doing something good. You know, I was sobbing. And this old man looked at me and he said, you know, I feel really sorry for you, but you did this. And I was like, really taken aback, but in a very refreshing way, because by this point, my family was really tired of dealing with me. And so were my friends, right? Because if you tried to speak some truth into my life, you were going to get two outcomes, either fuck you, or I would be highly emotive, crying, just like I was when I got the boot on my car.
Yeah, you're mean to me.
Yeah, you're mean. Why are you being? I'm trying. You're not trying, right? But so any whiff of accountability, you were going to get a pretty strong reaction from me, but not this guy. He was right.
I never understood why it's so easy to be worse to the people we love. But when a stranger says it, it's like it lands differently.
That's where it lands.
It's weird, right?
Yeah. And I really I'm glad that I got sober in an urban area, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are like, I would rather step on your toes and step on your grave.
I'd rather you hate me.
Totally.
Yeah.
They're not pulling punches.
Than to me not say something and then you go die.
Yeah. There's not a lot of hand holding that goes on in those environments. And that's great. Cause any hand holding for me is like an opportunity to go out.
You and me both.
Yeah. So yeah. And then that was it. That's it. That began kind of the ongoing, I guess you would call it a love affair, ongoing habit of continuing to show up and continuing to stay sober.
So you didn't have to go get detoxed or anything along those lines?
No.
That must have been a rough week, though, the first week.
Oh, it was a tough week.
Yeah.
I was really lucky, though. The guy that I was dating, who's now my husband.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
so
sweet.
At least something good came out of it.
Oh, so he and we started dating in April of 2005, and both of us were still out. So we have had the experience. We didn't meet in recovery. Like we met at a bar.
Yeah.
So we had like a good 6 months where we were going out. So I don't wonder to myself, like, God, I wonder what he's like when he's, it's like, no, every mystery has already been solved. But his father at the time was sober. He was the only person that I knew in recovery. And he had 11 years. And that
was a lifetime back then.
I mean, you could levitate if you had 11 years in my book. And he also was pretty joyful. He had a really nice life at that point.
It was attractive.
It was attractive. So I was dating this guy who I knew the minute I met him, I was going to marry him. And I needed a man like a fish needed a bicycle. Like, no joke. Like, I was like, dude, I'm not wife material. And he would tell you that, like, oh yeah, I met this girl, like, she's got an eating disorder. She's an alcoholic. Perfect. Like, put a ring on it. You know what I mean?
Introduce her to mom ASAP.
Yeah, for sure. Like, two broken kids who got together. Right. But yeah, he made it look attractive. And because, he and I, David and I were serious at that point. It was like, okay, I've got another person in my life who's like modeling this thing. And that's the only thing I've actually done, like, I guess I would say well enough, right? As far as like staying very close to that community. But I've had to make amends for everything else. Yeah. Everything else. Like, my behavior, it took a long time for my behavior to change. It's still changing.
Oh, of course. Of course. It doesn't happen overnight. That's the thing. People need to allow themselves enough grace to know that it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. Oh, definitely it's like,
not. As long as you can identify it and hopefully clean it up real time, that spot check inventory, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, sure.
That's the important part because, like, my character defects are still my character defects. As a matter of fact, they're exacerbated because I don't have anything to numb them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. And it is, I go to more meetings now than I ever did. Ever. Because, and it's funny because I thought that things would look a little different. Of course I thought things would be different. I had such admiration for people with long-term sobriety. Sure. But then you get longer-term sobriety and you realize it's not a tool. It's not a tool. Like, there's so many people that I know that have been sober.
It's not like you're in an AP class all of a sudden or like some sort of like graduated class or, you've got it more figured out than the newcomer. None of that.
No, long-term sobriety doesn't keep you sober. It just doesn't. And I feel like, the best gift that we can give to ourselves and to each other is like having, self-knowledge, right? Like self-assessment, understanding myself so then I can have a greater understanding of you. The hardest part though is that like I'm a moving target. I am always changing myself and also my circumstances are changing.
All the time.
So
life is still life.
There's no mastery. There is no mastery.
In the quiet hills of Marin County, there's a place where healing begins. A place where alcohol or drugs no longer control your life. At Live Oaks Wellness, we offer compassionate, client-centered care for those struggling with addiction. Our licensed drug and alcohol detox and residential programs are designed to help you take the first step toward recovery with a team that truly understands the journey. You don't have to walk this path alone. At Live Oaks, we're here to help you rebuild, restore, and reclaim your life. Take the first step today. Live Oaks Wellness. Healing starts here.
Something that I think is really important to share, especially because we're focusing on, hope and recovery and, having odds stacked against us, right? I had a lot of challenges in early sobriety, like big time challenges. And most specifically, I was one of those people that didn't know that they were pregnant for a very long time.
Mm.
So,
was that due to eating disorders?
It was.
Yeah, I figured.
It was. And so, imagine I'm, 30 pounds underweight, right? In December of 2005, that's when I stopped drinking, but, still, and actually didn't really get high very much either, but I got high June 5th of 2006. And so that's why I changed my sobriety date.
When you say high, you mean smoking weed?
Yeah, I was smoking weed. Okay. Yeah. And to me, it's full sobriety. It just is what it is, right? So in December of 2005, I think I was 45 days sober in that January, and I took a pregnancy test. And, the reason I took a pregnancy test is because I didn't get my period anymore, but I hadn't got my period for a while, right? Because
that's not uncommon for somebody that's underweight, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, if you were to, this is considered the gold standard of anorexia. It really is. It's like, oh man, you made it to that level.
Mm-hmm.
You really know how to starve, right? So that was already off of the table, but I felt pretty weird. I felt a little off, but you're 45 days sober. Who doesn't feel off at 45 days sober?
There was a lot of things you could attribute it to at that point.
100%. And also there's such a disconnect. I think not only in addiction, but also in eating disorders, you're not connected to yourself at all.
Mm-hmm.
Your needs have been ignored completely,
mm-hmm.
right? If I have the sensation of hunger, just completely ignore it, right? So I didn't have any connection with my body. I wasn't attuned with it at all.
Sure.
And so the pregnancy test was negative. It was a P test. And so I kind of went along my merry way, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. And then great, cool, not pregnant, yay, whatever it was. And then, but I did notice that I was starting to gain weight, kind of like a little pooch, kind of in the front here.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that I was working with, who are very capable people, thought that it was due to distension from the refeeding process, right? So you see those, the
bloat.
Yeah, it's just that bloat, right? And it was very uncomfortable at the time because, of course, any time I ate 10 bites more of a meal, I would feel really, there's a lot of back and forth when you have an eating disorder like that, right? Because it's everything is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the calories on the side of a can of Pam, right? Jesus. It's pretty extreme. So it was uncomfortable, but because I was sober at that point, right? So I'm not using, I was able to make progress and to kind of get comfortable with that discomfort. And
well, people don't realize once you put alcohol in your body, because it's a poison, you're not absorbing any nutrients of any food that you're intaking. Your body might try to store it, but it's not really processing anything until the alcohol is out of your body.
Oh yeah. And because I was at that point prior to stopping drinking, I was, doing a food journal, my nutritionist has got to have been like, dude, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Right?
The majority of my calories were from booze,
mm-hmm.
right? And then I would always transition over to cannabis, right? Because I'm just like, dude, I can't afford these calories. I'm already at 800 for the day or whatever it was. So I went along my merry way. May 20th of 2005 was my sister's bridal shower. So I was here. I was in California. And I remember my parents were just like, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was just so upset, right? Because it was just this tiny thing. Still wearing regular clothes.
That must have sucked. Having a eating disorder and then people tell you look pregnant.
It sucked, right? Because they're like, "Are you sure?" But also I was wearing regular clothes, right?
Sure.
There was none of that shit was going on, and I would just be like, "Dude, you guys, I took multiple pregnancy tests. Fuck off, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is, and also you already feel enough shame about this, this bloat that you've caused because you're an anorexic and you can't feed yourself. It's this whole story, right?"
Sure.
So took another pregnancy test, negative. So I've learned now that after the 5th month, that whatever hormone is being tested, and your over-the-counter test has since left, right? And at that stage in the pregnancy. So when I eventually got back to Chicago, I went to the Howard Brown Clinic, which is like a free LGBTQ plus clinic on the north side of Chicago. No health insurance, right? So, I'm paying for my eating disorder treatment out of pocket. My credit score is in the 4s. I'm a college dropout. And then I show up there and they give me a blood test and they confirm that I'm pregnant.
It's like one of the first things they do.
Yeah. And it was then I was like, oh my God. And, David and I are like.
And it's a blood test. It's not a urine test.
It's a blood test. So that's how they figured it all out. It's
accurate as fuck.
Yep. And so then my solution at the time was that I was going to have an abortion. And
but it's too late. But you think it just happened, right?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I went to, there's a huge Planned Parenthood. It's still there. I was in Chicago last year, and it's on the corner of like LaSalle and Division, and it's like a city block, both sides. And both David and I, that's the conclusion that we came to, right? We're not married. Yeah, I'm barely sober. He's not sober, by the way. Like, we're just a couple kids. This is over our heads, right? So we go to that clinic, and it was June 12th of 2006. So I'm 6 days sober. And it was there that I learned that I was 33 weeks along. And that's near the end. And for that shock, a nurse came into the room. She gave me an ultrasound. She left the room very quietly. And then the doctor comes in and he says, "You're having a baby." And I'm like, "No, man, like, I'm not here for that. Like, check your chart." And he's like, "You don't have a choice. You're at 33 weeks.
Wow.
Like, this is it."
So, and only 6 days sober. So
6 days sober. And it was pandemonium. I remember I couldn't hear for like 7 or 8 minutes. Like, social workers start rushing in the door, right? It's just like, they're like, "You need to sit down. You could deliver at any time." And I'm just like, what the fuck? And in such shock and in such dismay and in such shame, how did I not know this? And I remember when David came in and just how devastating it was. And my father-in-law, the one who was sober at the time, he was an OBGYN of all things. And he'd seen me a few weeks before. And David tearfully called him. And he was like, "David, that's near the end." Like, and so there was a collective sense of like, wait, what? And initially we looked into adoption. We met with adoption agencies. We looked through glossy catalogs of people that were yearning for a baby, because that's where the pendulum swung, right? It was like, absolutely not, can't do this, can barely take care of myself.
Yep.
Like, barely, right? Barely getting by, financial insecurity, no prenatal care. None. Like, no prenatal care, no vitamins, no Lamaze.
Wait, you mean the nursery for the baby isn't set up yet?
No, right? And so, like, you're just, you having the odds like so stacked against you.
Literally.
And I don't even know how it happened, but somehow, and the pendulum never swung all the way back, right? It just kind of swung to the center. And David and I, despite all of our shortcomings that were pretty prevalent at the time, were somehow able to navigate this decision where neither of us pressured the other person. We were just kind of able to hear each other out. And eventually we made a decision that we were going to keep our baby. And she was born 42 days later.
That's a really long pregnancy.
It's so long. It was like, 42 days. So like they speculated 33 weeks, right? So 42 days would have been like probably around 39, 40 weeks. Is that, and that's the average gestation.
Okay.
10
months,
that's the average gestation. And so, yeah, she was born. I'll never know how long, we'll never know how long she was, in utero. Right. Mm-hmm. But she was born and she was like 5 pounds, 11.5 ounces.
That's actually sounds a lot healthier than what I would have expected.
I know. and like 21 and a half inches long. She was like a string bean, right? But she was a string bean. And the reason why I share that is because I have this image in my head of what it looked like when I saw my baby. And she was in the hospital, I think, for like 10 days. She couldn't breathe right.
NICU?
NICU, yeah. So this memory is really easy for me to access, but I don't live in it. But it was easy for me to access. So when I'm with like other moms or other women, especially women that are incarcerated, right? And they say to me like, that they hurt their baby. I know what it feels like to hurt your baby. Because I didn't care for her, Jack.
But you didn't know either.
I didn't know, but I starved her, right? And so you still have this sense of guilt. I didn't want her. I didn't want her at all. I wanted her gone, whether it was, physically gone or given away, right? So I don't think those are poor options, by the way. I have no opinion on like abortion or like, adoption or anything like that. For me, it's been more of like, this is something that I've had to reconcile. Sure. Because I love this child and I was on the razor's edge of not having her. And that was a moment in time where it was like, I was certain that it was over. I was certain. I mean, it was just like, there is no coming back from this, right? Because you're unmarried, you're uneducated, you have no money, you have no experience with kids, you can't take care of yourself. Everything, right? This is
like the ultimate fear.
And that's what it felt like. And so like when I speak about it now, and I mean this sincerely, that's like, it's like there's such a distinct difference between being down and being out, right? So I was down for sure. I mean, my back was against the wall with this. This was a really big deal. But I wasn't out, right? And so I think that when we reach that point, it's a good reminder that like, we can come back from these things.
I don't think there's anybody that's ever out. I mean, although it may feel that way,
sure.
If you have breath in your lungs, I feel like there's a chance, And there's something powerful about the way you were just speaking that like when you're put in these situations, you just end up doing whatever it takes, right?
That's right.
You know? And sometimes it takes being your back completely against the wall in order to like trudge forward because it's your only option, right? Yeah. There's only one way at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that no one is beyond the reach of God or recovery.
I agree.
No one.
I agree.
And I also think that, there's just time. This is your only option, right? This was the only option. And like, what is so crazy about that story, and there's been, obviously there was a lot of fallout of, being a young, inexperienced mother. I mean, my kids grew up with me, right? They weren't in the company of grownups when they were born. They were in the company of people who were desperately trying to get their shit together. Sure. Right. But my daughter she's 5'10". I mean, she's a brick house for real. She went to University of Washington and she rose. Like that is exceptional. Right. But I remember what that baby looked like. I remember thinking it was over.
Still your string bean.
My string bean. I remember like, I fucked this up so bad. And it's like, but now it's like, 19 years later, she's never seen me under the influence, and I got my little bestie, right? I didn't know that in that, clinic, that this is what was going to happen to me 19 years later. But sure. At that moment I was convinced, because when you're that down, you're convinced that it's over.
Sure.
Right. And that's why
I don't think it's an abnormal thought. I think you're brave for saying it out loud.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're brave for saying it out loud because there's not a lot of people that would admit that. Not a lot of people that would admit your brain went to, I can't do this.
Oh,
or
I can't.
I need to terminate this, or I need to give this away because we're not capable. And on paper, you weren't, right?
No. Oh, absolutely not. I was like the least qualified person
right.
to have a baby. And my husband, if he was here, he would be laughing too, like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, we were living on love for the first couple of years.
But in a lot of ways, it was kind of a symbol too, right? She's a rower. She's probably this powerful person that, the string being turned into something. But it also was it sounds like a turning point in your life and your husband's life, right?
Yes, definitely. It was a turning point. And, it's like you and I, we definitely don't think that kids keep us sober, right?
No,
we know they
nothing
don't.
can.
We know that they don't. We have so many examples that they don't. But it was definitely a turning point. And there is a lot of symbolism there, that like I was always being taken care of, right? Like I could say that, yes, I didn't want her, or like I was in denial, but I could also say that she was hidden from me. And it's a good thing that she was, because if she wasn't hidden from me, she wouldn't be here.
There it is.
And if she wasn't here, then my son wouldn't be here either.
Yeah.
Everything hung in the balance of that visit to the clinic.
She
Everything.
represents so much.
She does. She represents so much. And also like comebacks. Like, I mean, I'm such a like fan of recovery from the comeback perspective, right? I mean, it's like this is a comeback.
We are in the midst of the worst drug crisis in U.S. history.
The CDC has named fentanyl deadliest drug in the United States.
The drug is fentanyl.
My name is Jeremy, and I'm a recovering fentanyl addict. I've overdosed more times than I can count. I believe I was revived so I could carry the message to the addict that still suffers. Silence makes you complicit. You either recover loudly or you die quietly. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you save your own life.
Learn more at recoverordie.org.
I was so addicted to the stories in the rooms. I loved them. I couldn't stop drinking for about 4 years, but I loved hearing people's stories because it's like, these are things that all should have movies to. Like your story should have a movie to it.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious.
There's definitely, there are some TV shows out there that are like, I didn't know I was pregnant.
Really?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think they're like on TLC, right?
Okay.
And they're just like totally horrified by it. And then, I mean, there is a sense of, it's funny because I have been pregnant since then because my son is 16. And so I'm like, Jesus, like, how did you not know? But I didn't know. And it's a good thing that I didn't know.
I love how retrospect everything becomes clear. Looking back on things, you're like, oh, it had to be that way.
Yeah. Oh, it had to.
You can't see it in the moment, but that's like the best part. If somebody could actually like in the moment say, I don't know why this is happening, but there's got to be a reason. I should speak for myself. If I'm able to see that in those moments and do that thought, I think that I could have a better chance at moving forward through whatever it is personally,
Absolutely.
right? Because I'm one of those guys that thinks the world's against me, right? Like I go to victim immediately, right?
For sure.
So I think these bad things are happening to me and then I get down in the dumps. It's really hard for me to come out of it. But if I can like in the moment change that perspective, I just think there's something that powerful that can happen.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why this is happening. There's got to be a reason. What is it? And then use it as a driving force.
Yeah. I think that would be like the ideal mindset.
God, if I could do that every time.
I mean, to me, like self-pity is like a marble pit, It's like, I'll like look over the edge, like what's down there? And I just fall right into it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, I think that it's an example of like really one of the darkest moments of my life being transitioned into something that I can access. And that I can connect with other people on.
Yeah.
And I think that all of us have spiritual gifts, and mine is mercy. Absolutely, it is mercy to be able to look in the eyes of a suffering woman and to be able to connect and say, me too, because they don't, when we get all shined up, people don't think that we have these experiences. And it's like, no, I hurt my baby too.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the anguish of that. And I have like I have like a kernel of it compared to some of the other women that I encounter, right? That have lost their children. I mean, that's just devastating. So yeah, I think like kind of to your point, we have these opportunities that if we get into them, right? And we truly experience them and we get through them, we can then access them and then we can connect with other people.
Yeah, it's the connection portion.
It's the best.
Yeah, that's where the power goes. That's where the power comes from.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. And your experience is your power, right? Like,
yeah.
But if people aren't willing to talk about it, that's the sad part, right? Because we're not in a society that is typically acceptable to hearing things like what you're saying, right? But everybody goes through their own stuff. So I don't understand why everybody's so, what happens in the home stays in the home sort of thing. It's like, God, if you were to just talk about it, somebody else might be able to identify with it, and there might be some healing that can happen.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot too because. I only know my own mind, right? And it's funny because I was with like these women yesterday and none of them are alcoholics. And I don't know how they think or I just don't know. And I think it's funny too that it just recently occurred to me that I have this whole secret life that they don't know anything about. I remember when I got 10 years that I invited some normie friends to like come and be at a meeting. And I remember one of my friends who's just lovely, like she was clutching her purse because like the druggie buggy had shown up, right? Nice. So like all these dudes were like coming and spilling out of the van. And she was clutching her purse a little bit more, right? Sure. And she was like, oh, I don't, and I just was like, oh, you should watch out for the women too. Right? This is a whole secret life. I think about recovery is where I live, right? I visit the outside world. Very little beef with recovery, truly, right? I mean, but the outside world, that's when the gears start getting grinded.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I don't think that, I think that I think there are some, really meaningful differences between non-alcoholics and alcoholics, but I don't think we have the monopoly on the suffering. And I couldn't agree with you more that I think that people are suffering. I think we're more willing to discuss it.
Well, I think it's out of pure desperation.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the only way that we stay alive is to say out loud.
People in recovery started a trend, 80, 100 years ago or whatever it was, where, a bunch of people got together and shared that, they're dying of this thing, and they've been able to harness the power because there's something special that happens when two people that are in recovery talk to each other.
There is. And
undeniable.
What's really funny too is like, if you actually think about the origins of recovery, right? That this is a concept that is, obviously like, recovery is huge now, right? So whether it's like detoxes or clinics or like there's multiple recovery programs people can get into, right? I mean, the highway is very broad as far as how people treat their addiction. But the foundation of it was two degenerates. It was, right? And so I heard about this I was thinking about this the other day that, it's kind of like, I mean, the world is, if you were an alcoholic in the 1930s, right, you could go to like jails, institutions, death, right? I mean, there was no hope for you. There's no rehab. We know that. And this is a huge problem. And so if you think of it like it's like, a football game, we're in the fourth quarter. Like we need a touchdown and God's like, put in those two degenerates to fix the problem.
Sure.
Put them in, let's pass them the ball, right? And I love that about it because it's like I think that to myself when it comes to recovery, like I feel chosen. And I don't mean that in a way that's like, I'm chosen. It's like, listen, like, I mean, I've got very high class problems, but I still have problems, right? But I feel chosen in that like, when it comes down to a directive in my life, I've got it. I'm lucky. When I am bewildered and confused and overwhelmed and not sure about anything and living in a world that is full of fear and division, I know what I need to do. I need to go help somebody. Right? And so like, we're lucky. We have this solution that's built in, right? But it was started by two degenerates.
Yeah.
And now the degenerates, I include myself in this, are saving the other degenerates.
I agree.
And it's the greatest rescue of all time.
Sure.
And it's so cool, right?
Get in the life raft.
Dude, the best.
I don't know about you, and it sounds like you do, but I can only speak for myself, but I have a pretty cool life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a very cool life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool, like total abundance. Yeah, and it wasn't always like that, right? So having a lot of challenges with, humbling experience, not only having my daughter, but, living in significant financial insecurity for many, many years, like requiring government assistance in sobriety because my husband had been laid off 2 times. I moved 3 times cross country.
I was going to say, what brought you back to California?
It was work. It was work. So my husband works in finance and he graduated from Booth, the University of Chicago in 2009. And I mean, we were just like a couple, like cheery little cherubs, just like, woohoo! He got his MBA. And then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. That was a big banking hub. And he was laid off, I think, 6 months later.
Wow.
And then he got a job in Minneapolis. And so we moved to Minneapolis. So we went from Chicago to Charlotte, Charlotte to Minneapolis. And I was pregnant with my son. We had my son in October of 2009. And then he was laid off a few months later. Jesus. And he was unemployed, I think, for 9 or 10 months. So having the experience of standing in the snow, baby on the hip, toddler at my arm, having to ask for assistance, not being able to afford health insurance. There's a lot of value in that kind of experience and that kind of suffering.
There is the humility you gain from it.
For sure. I don't judge the single mothers. I do not judge the people that are doing a drive-through every night. No way. because my cognition was so impaired by not knowing whether I would be able to provide for my family or not. That is fear, huge fear. So then eventually he was able to secure a job here on the West Coast. And so we came out here when my daughter was 5 and Jack was 2.
Nice.
So yeah, and
another Jack.
Another Jack.
There's not enough of us.
There's not enough. You know what? I honestly think with this particular, that's funny. I think that there's more Jacks now, but I can't say I know a lot more Jacks. But there's just something about that swashbuckling Jack, you know?
Yeah.
And
the way my grandmother used to say it is so funny. She always added a lot of emphasis on the J and the A. So it's Jack.
Jack. Yeah, maybe I'll try that, actually.
She used to, what did she used to tell me? Clean motherfucking living, Jack.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Your grandmother used to say motherfucking?
She did.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. My grandma also had a nickname. It was Sween.
Sween.
Sween, yeah. She was so hip, she had to have a nickname.
Oh my God, that's so great.
So great.
Yeah. I had one grandmother that wasn't really like present, and the other one who was like a diehard alcoholic who like ruined every Christmas essentially. From what I know, when you're a kid and you're like, what?
Yeah, you
didn't
know that was actually going on.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, we have to go? Like we have to abruptly go? Like you just don't really know. But it's like, that Grammy dropped the hammer. She said something on like her 7th 7 and 7. She started speaking truth, and the family was just like, I saw Codependent No More. That book was in my house when I was growing up, right? So there's definitely like that legacy of alcoholism.
Sure, but when you're a kid, you're just focused on your gifts.
I
Super
just want
selfish.
my shit. Yeah, like why are we leaving?
Yeah,
Do I have to? But I'm not opening it here. But am I opening it? Oh, okay, cool.
As long as I get to open it.
Yeah, as long as I get it, like that's really all that matters to me. But yeah, that's funny. My grandmother never. She probably said motherfucker quite a bit. I just wasn't listening.
Want to hear a good delusion story?
Yes, I do. I love a good delusion story.
So,
my favorite.
So very similar to your story. I actually climbed the corporate ladder in finance and was fortunate to have a career with this one firm, particularly for about 14 years.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to tell me that firm offline.
Offline, for sure.
Very curious.
I ended up in 2005 getting this dream job of working with this team that was nationally recognized.
Nice.
And very cool. The thing is like, I didn't like want to pursue any more education to like maybe, take on a bigger role in the thing. Although I used to tell people I would.
Yeah, no, right? I'm good. Yeah.
But I was attached to this team. And so I used to wear it like a badge as if like it was me that was accomplishing all these things.
Yes.
And so by the time my alcoholism got to the point where I drank myself out of the job, I was convinced that I could walk across the street to Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan and find out how much they were willing to pay me and fight over that, right? It was going to start a bidding war.
Yeah.
It was going to be a bidding war between
highly competitive.
Lloyd Blankfein, Jamie Dimon. They were like,
Jamie,
Jack's a free agent. Jack's a free agent. Everybody, he's going to be ours. We're going to pay him this amount. And
a lot
Jamie
of anticipation.
Dimon,
yeah, for sure.
It's like contract negotiations.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the word was on the street, right? That like Jack was going to be a free. Yeah,
it hit the ticker tape.
100%. Like that was the tea that was being whispered.
That was my delusion. It was a trip. And I was out of work for 18 months.
Oh, it is
humbling.
I felt like Job. I did. I know I'm not Job, but I literally was just like, dude. And also I think because I had been sober for, I don't know, I guess 4 years or 5 years by that point, I was like, really?
Kudos to you. Moving is so stressful.
It is.
So the moving alone, not to mention then standing in line for government assistance, your family's getting bigger, but your finances are getting smaller.
Yeah.
Like that's all scary stuff to stay sober through.
It was very scary things to stay sober through.
What about your foundation then? So like when you first got into recovery, could you talk about some of that?
I developed a really strong foundation when I was in Chicago, and I had people that modeled unbelievable behavior from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I remember there was a man named Steve, and he was the cutest little gay guy you've ever met in your life. And on Monday nights, it was a really big meeting. It was super packed. And he would always save a seat for me right in the front row. And he would pat the seat next to him. And I would sit with him. He had this way of making new broken people feel like they were the most important person in the room.
They are.
And a few months later, I watched him courageously share at the group level that he was dying of pancreatic cancer. And he was determined to die sober. And he died 6 weeks later.
Wow.
And I remember his funeral. It was a snowy day. It was in the winter. And I remember that was one of the first things I showed up for. It was like one of the, you know what I mean? Because I was one of those friends that was like, yeah, I'll help you move. Like, fuck you, I'm not gonna help you. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't show up for anything, right? But it was
Sure.
like, this was the beginning of like, these are esteemable acts, right? I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to show up for this man because he showed up for me. I'm going to
Sure.
shake his partner's hand, right? So from very early on, I got to witness people manage challenges and get through life without drinking and using drugs. And I was blown away.
Yeah. I mean, even hearing about it, like, I mean, I've seen it myself, but like, it never gets old.
Never. And I think, I don't know if this is the case for you, but when I got sober, I felt like I had kind of like a trump card. Like I felt like, I'm like, you know what, listen, I'm going to go ahead and stay sober. Fine. But if my kids die, I'm fucking drinking, right? Like it's like, and all y'all need to back it up. Don't come for me. Right? Like you need to show me understanding and compassion because that's what I'm going to do. And I have witnessed multiple women in sobriety lose their children. I've been at a meeting where a woman's daughter was on the verge of dying. And she took time out of her life to come to a meeting and speak in front of a group of women and declare that she still lives in God's perfect universe despite this. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Right? So to have all of that modeled for you, and it doesn't just happen for me like here or there, it happens all the time.
Sure.
Right? So that continuous exposure, right? That continuous like dropping in, being among people, witnessing the change in others, right? Hearing their honesty, observing that they're going through really difficult challenges, right? But yet they're doing it. So I think that continuous inspiration is a big part of the foundation of my recovery. And it always has been. And it still is when we talk about being in environments where individuals are incarcerated, right? I'm reminded of my fortunates, not only because I get to leave, that's like the most prominent piece, but I'll hear an individual do a reading in the beginning of the meeting. I can tell by the cadence of how they're reading that they didn't learn to read. Right? That this is a struggle for them. Well, why is it a struggle for them? Well, they were likely in foster care. These are assumptions, but to be honest, this is pretty prevalent with individuals that have been incarcerated. Maybe they're in foster care. Maybe they weren't taken care of. Right?
Yeah.
So my
single family home
totally,
or single parent homes.
You know, my perspective is immediately shifted, right? Because somebody taught me how to read. Somebody was there for me. And there's times when I'm in, San Quentin that I am around individuals, and listen, they're not clicking their heels because they're in prison, right? There's not like gumdrop smiles, like they're not like, yay, me, but they manage to have a level of contentment and peace and purpose in their life that has somehow overcome their circumstances. And it is true. And so that, like, it's just this ongoing, it just feeds me. Right? And because I kind of got out while the getting was good, let's be honest, I've never been incarcerated, right? I mean, that's a big deal. I should have been locked up a million times over.
You and me both.
So I didn't necessarily have like this low bottom, which is a double-edged sword, I got to tell you, because on one hand, it's like so great that I managed to not have those consequences, but I also think those consequences really help keep people sober. So I seek the consequences. I have to be reminded of where this goes. This is why.
Even if it didn't necessarily happen to you, you want to hear about it.
Absolutely. And I'm like, because I need to know, like, oh, this is the place that I'm going to end up.
Yeah. This
right?
is what's on the table still if I'm drinking.
These are the choices, right? The choices haven't changed.
Sure.
Like if I start drinking or using again, that is inevitable.
Back on the table.
Back on the table. And I've heard people speak in recovery over and over. I've heard this and I'm sure that it's true for them. I just don't know if it's true for me, but let's say like to drink is to die, right? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true for me or not, right? It's not that I can like outwit death. That's not it. It's just saying that I don't feel the need to embellish my alcoholism in that way just to kind of like prove to anybody else that I'm like a diehard alcoholic. I don't know if I would die. I don't know if I would die immediately, but I do know this, that I would have a very mediocre existence, that my behavior would go into the toilet, that I would have no relationships with my kids. I would burn every single bridge that I have created in recovery.
Sure.
So I would be co-signing on a very shitty life because that's the life that I had before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that, so when we talk about like foundation, like, yes, I've worked the steps multiple times. Yes, I've always had a sponsor, always, right? Sponsoring other people is a really big part of it as well.
Yeah. Service, it sounds like.
Service,
for you.
Regular attendance, right? I've had some really powerful experiences across the board, as you would imagine, just over the course of this. I've traveled extensively.
I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit about some of the gifts of sobriety?
Oh, for sure. So I've traveled extensively.
Aside from two beautiful kids,
Aside from two beautiful kids and, not totally ruined, and having a wonderful marriage with my husband's been sober 17 years. So I got sober a couple years after me, which is incredible. And so that's like a really good example. The other day I went to the pediatrician with my son, and he had to fill out this form or whatever. And I had to do the same. And it was an ACEs form, and it was, adverse childhood experiences. And ACE, are you familiar with ACEs?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, it's actually really worthwhile, and it takes a minute to take this test.
Okay.
So ACEs is, adverse childhood experiences, right? So it's like basically 1 to 10. And these are certain circumstances in one's life that are very traumatic as a child. If you've experienced any of these, it increases your odds not only for addiction, but also for all kinds of health ailments, right? So it could be everything from, autoimmune diseases to gastritis, right? That's like when your stomach lining is really worn, migraines, okay, like arthritis. These are all very common side effects of having a very high ACEs score.
How have I never heard of this?
Oh, it's really cool.
I don't have kids, but still.
No, but I mean,
Is
even
it
for
newer?
yourself, no, it's been around quite a while, but even for yourself, like kind of the things that we discussed, it's worthwhile to look at.
I probably scored really high, and that's why my mom didn't tell me about it.
Well, no, I mean, you would score high based on the circumstances of your life. So one of the scores is, were your parents divorced? Did you have a parent that was incarcerated? Did you have a parent that was mentally ill? Did you have a parent that was an addict? Right? So your score goes up not because of the way that you were, but because of the way of your circumstances were,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And I had 1 and my husband had 7. And so our son has 0.
Love that.
Right. And so like that is incredible, right? To be in a position where you can stop the never ending, like running out of control train of, basically transgenerational grief and suffering. That's what we get to do here, right? We get to put an end to it. It is not without work.
No, of course not.
But it is incredible.
And
so I
it's
get moments
worthwhile.
like that a lot. Yeah. I get moments like that a lot of like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
So
I'd beat on my chest about that.
Oh, yeah. 100%. He's got a 0. I mean, that's like so cool.
Yeah. How many does your kid have?
I
Mine's
know,
got 0.
right? Like, I mean, let's compare our ACEs score. Yeah. I mean, in 7, it's just, it's exceptionally high. So yeah, I mean, the great things about recovery, I don't live in financial insecurity anymore. And that doesn't mean that that's like what's going to happen if you get sober. But I'll tell you what, I've lived in both financial security and financial insecurity, and I have a preference of it for sure. So my credit score is not in the 4s anymore, and I don't worry about the creditors that are calling me day and night.
You don't have any boots on your car, I'll bet.
I don't have any boots on my car.
You got here today.
I did. But I'll tell you what, I didn't park in the parking lot because it said that it was for the restaurant. I parked on the street because I literally have PTSD from Chicago parking. Like, no joke. I do not mess around with parking. Yeah. Everything else I do, but like not
$6,000 in tickets will do that to somebody.
So that to me is like, oh, that rule does apply to me. Like other rules, it's questionable, but that rule, it actually does. Like I have proof of it.
You're still parked in front of a fire hydrant, probably.
No, I just don't even mess with it anymore. So I've traveled a lot. And travel is a big thing in our family. It's been a big priority. We live in, the hamlet of Mill Valley, which is like, this really beautiful area. And, but it's not terribly diverse. And so we've kind of, thankfully, my husband and I are really aligned on a lot of different things. And so we've just made it a priority to travel a lot. And I've been able to attend meetings all over the world, like Brussels and Istanbul.
Wow.
And actually probably one of the more powerful experiences has happened to me just going to Africa. So I've spent a lot of time in Kenya, and that's more than any other place that I've ever traveled to. And
what's the particular reason?
Well, so years ago, I had a friend who he was posting pictures of doing outreach in Kenya, and he was working with children, he was working with families, and he's in recovery, and I admired what he was doing so much.
Sure.
And I was like, I got to do that sometime. And he was like, well, why don't you? And this was in 2020. This is like, I got back from Africa the first time I went like March 14th. So the day before lockdown. So like, as like Corona is happening, right? Or COVID was happening, I was totally off the grid. So I didn't actually know what was happening. But I had just done the Hoffman process, which has anybody mentioned the Hoffman process to you? Yeah. So listen, I did the Hoffman process before it was cool. Okay. We got sober before it was cool. We did the Hoffman process before it was cool.
You're a real trailblazer
let me tell you, so
how did we not have you on the show sooner?
Oh my God. Like Oprah just started talking about the Hoffman process. And I'm like, listen, like I could have told you that like literally 5 years ago, but it's fine. But it's like this.
You're better than Oprah.
Well, no, not even close. But like it's saying that like we talk about recovery, we talk about the rooms and we talk about what we do there. But like for me, I've had a lot of outside help, like a lot of outside help that taught me how to be a better wife, a lot of outside help that taught me how to be a better mother, a lot of, early childhood stuff, which is where the Hoffman process comes in. It's incredible. So when I was 13 years sober, I went off the grid for a week to work on early childhood suffering that was then manifesting itself in the way that I parented, right? So I've had a lot of opportunities to do work, not only in the rooms, but also outside of it. And that's been my experience, right? That like some people, they can just kind of go to recovery and that's like their bag and that has fixed them in whatever capacity. Mm-hmm. For me, I've needed extra help, I guess I would say.
I think everybody does. I just think if you're not willing to do the work, that's when the growth stops. So like hearing about, whether it's the Hoffman process or all these things, the litmus test is your kid's ACEs score is 0.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
let's just say that again, because at the end of the day, like all this work that you're willing to do is the reason why things are the way they are in your life. If you do the work, the results happen.
Yeah.
Right?
And
at the
it's conceivable. Yeah. That you can, all of these things that feel incredibly overwhelming, right? That they can be fixed, that they can be fixed, that they can be healed, right? I think, people aren't inherently broken, right?
This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Heartwood Home Detox.
I ended up going to Kenya and we're partnering with an organization there that helps individuals develop their own kind of businesses, I suppose. You could call it microfinance if you wanted to, where they can become self-supporting. So these are I've spent time in the slums of Nairobi. I've been to both of the major slums there. So Kibera and Mathare, which is like mind-blowing.
Do they have drinking water?
No. I've only spent days there. I can't imagine living in those conditions.
Sure.
But I do have a funny story that reminded me that I was an alcoholic. And so anyway, you go there and then, really the only way to eliminate individuals going to slums, right? Which is like, 1 million people in 4 square miles. This is like unbelievable living conditions, is that you eliminate poverty at its root, right? So we're working with people in rural areas, kind of in near Kinangop is like kind of the primary city, or Nakuru. So like Lake Naivasha, which is where like Out of Africa was filmed, right? Beautiful. There are people that are absolutely living hand to mouth. Like we're no running water, no electricity, right? And no food.
Wow.
And so if you go there and you have, our dollar goes way farther there, as you would imagine. If you build a chicken coop and then you fill it with chicken, well, that individual has an opportunity to sell that chicken for probably $10 US, right? Well, that's a really big deal. That's real money. If they have an egg, they can take it to school and they can trade that for a pencil, right? Because they have to pay for their own school and they have to pay for their own uniforms, right? So it's going in with individuals who live in the area, who know the families that we're working with, that know the circumstances that we're working with, right? And that's really key, because it's like, if I show up, I don't know what's going on. I don't need to offer any input to an environment that I don't live in, right? And so they're very strategic about like health insurance. So it could be a water tank, it could be a dairy cow, it could be seeds, it could be whatever. So that's the kind of work that I've done over there and will continue to do.
Very cool.
And it's the best. It is life-changing. My children have gone there twice. They've witnessed it as well, because I needed a witness. I needed a witness, because it is like unbelievable.
Yeah, it sounds like it's even hard to put into words.
Yeah, the perspective shift that you get is I mean, that's obvious, right? But also that, even the perspective shift of being an American, because I think I just thought, I mean,
we take it for granted.
Yeah, well, it's like you just think the material is like literally solves a lot of problems. And as from a communal standpoint, they have us beat by a landslide.
They're probably happier than we are.
Absolutely, they are. And they're not connected and they don't have fun. They're like, a lot happier and they're a lot joyful and they're a lot more grateful, right, than we are. I mean, so the slums, they're basically like, tin roofs, mud everywhere, chickens everywhere. I mean, the water that runs through it, I mean, it's just trash. That's all it is. Trash, chickens, farm animals, right? And these are just people that are just doing the very best that they can. They're doing the very best that they can. And there is this drink that they make called changa, which is their version of alcohol, right? And I mean, this is it's like, it makes Pruno look like an aperitif. I mean, it is like, what's in it? I mean, it's like, well, that water, right? Embalming fluid.
Oh, Jesus.
Diesel, jet fuel, a turpentine, you name it, that's what's in it, right? And you can tell the individuals that drink it because they're like develop sores around their mouth. And this stuff, I mean, one shot will knock you out for like hours, right? So you see people they're just straight up splayed out, right? I mean, they're like down for the count, laying in the mud, whatever, right? And when I heard about this is how I know I'm an alcoholic. I was like, what? Where was that shit when I was drinking?
Right.
I was like, wait, hold on. One shot will knock you out for how long? Man. One shot? I mean, this is incredibly economical, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a really big issue there, right? But when you are living in such poverty, just soul-crushing poverty, right? And you don't have a way out, like, I don't blame you for drinking that, right? I'd become the ingenuity, right? I mean, I would be coming up with that. And I remember we were at a village outside of Kinangop, and there was a man there, and his name starts with a P. We'll call him P. And since then, our families have become very bonded with one another. And he stood in front of us, and we were there to help his family. We were there because his family was in distress, and they didn't have enough food to eat, and they had a couple kids. And he shared his testimony. He was very newly sober at that point through an interpreter. So he's speaking Swahili and the interpreter's helping. And he shares, and I can see his head hanging so low as he's talking, that he's an alcoholic. He was out drinking. He wouldn't come home. He couldn't provide for his family, right? Which is like the worst thing ever for a man, right? And especially in that culture. But I think in any culture, that's super painful. And I'm talking to my friend Andrew, who lives in Kinangop, and I was like, I'm not going to leave this dude hanging. And so Andrew, I was like, do you think I should tell him that I'm an alcoholic? And he was like, I mean, yeah, if you want to. So then Andrew, basically dictates to him in Swahili what I'm saying, and that I'm able to say, like, I'm an alcoholic too. Like, I did all the things that you did. Like, I understand, right? To carry that message. And I mean, he just was like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He thought that white people are not alcoholics. And I was like, oh, brother. And it was just, there was 4 people in recovery that were on site that day. 4 people, right? Because recovery people show up.
That's amazing.
That's the thing. But it was just this moment that despite not even being able to understand each other, we understood each other. And I could see that his shame was washing away.
That's amazing.
And the next time I came back, I brought him 3 pieces of literature that are very important to the 12-step recovery programs in his native tongue, in Swahili, because it's actually published, I think, in like well over 100 languages.
Yeah.
And I brought this book, and I brought like a little packet for coffee because they can boil water. Tea's a really big thing there, but and I was like, "There's your cup of coffee, right?" And I was like, we put a shilling, the Kenyan shilling, in the basket, right? Like kind of teaching him how this is done, and like slowly but surely, we start off like we're having conversation, and then he sits down and he starts reading. And he's left the conversation. Dude's left the building, right? Because he's just sitting there and he starts reading this book. And then at some point he looks at me and he says, I see myself in this book. And that man has started meetings. And when he has a meeting, he stands in front and he's wearing a suit. And it is standing room only. And there are 50 people outside trying to get in.
No shit.
Because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the only one.
It's the only one. He's got 3 copies, but they're desperate for it. Right? Because he's not the only one who was drinking the changa, right? You know, and it's like, so he's carrying a message, right? So it's like, and I've seen meetings in Cuba. I didn't go, but I did see that meetings were there, which actually kind of surprised me. But it's nice to be able to have a place to land wherever you go. But like moments like that, moments where you can connect with people despite not having the same language, but the language of the heart, right? Like, this is the kind of life I get to lead.
And not like it's an ego thing or anything, but you helped start a meeting in Kenya.
Oh yeah, it's cool. But he's the one who really did it, right? I mean, I showed up with the books or whatever, but like, yeah.
That's the whole purpose. That goes back to the same thing I was trying to identify with earlier, which is like, you know, our story is our strength, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact that there is a solution is our message.
Yes, and now he's doing it too. And people are responding. Yeah. And like,
that's like, incredible.
It's so cool.
Right? I always think about like the people we impact. So like, you know, whether you're a mentor or a sponsor or whatever program that you're working and you're doing these things and that person helps another person and it's the chain effect. It's literally compounding interest, right? It's like over and over and over. And like, you don't even realize it. But by the time we're done with this whole thing, we could have impacted thousands and thousands of people. And it's like, I just wish normal people get to experience that because I think it would add a lot of value to everybody's life if they realized like the impact that they could actually have, right? Whether we're talking about addiction or just even just life in general, whether it's the pay it forward effect of doing something kind for somebody, any of that stuff, I just feel like the world would be a better place.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with you. I mean, there's definitely times where I miss drinking and, but ultimately I feel kind of bad for the normies. Right? I mean, this is a hell of a trade-off. Because, I mean, even like during COVID, right? I mean, how quickly did recovery mobilize in COVID? I mean, we were like on it.
I mean, Zoom exists because of us.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, it was like literally we got our shit together like
people know what Zoom is because
of us. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like
Skype really missed the boat on that one. Like Skype had been around longer than Zoom, but Zoom was so easy and user-friendly that it just boom.
I was thinking yesterday that I really wish I would have invested in Zoom.
Is it a public company?
I don't know.
Somebody probably bought him out though. Like regardless, if you worked for Zoom in the beginning, dude, forget it.
Missed opportunity. For sure. The other day I actually had a moment, and this never happens to me. I'm really, really lucky that I was actually thirsty. Like I actually thought like, man, I really want to drink. And so I'll have like fleeting moments where like, you know, I'll see like a Moscow Mule. Like I never had a Moscow Mule, right? Like, I mean, there's so many things that have come onto the market and so many trends that have occurred since I drank, right? So it was just like, well, what's that taste like? Or, you know, cucumber vodka, whatever it is, right? But I don't romanticize like having, you know, a glass of Sauvignon Blanc with a friend and like a $40 salad and quart of Madeira. I don't want to do that. Like if I drink, I'm drinking, you know what I mean? And it's interesting because every phase of life, especially as a parent, especially as a mother, because mothering culture is synonymous with wine culture. They are very paired. I've had to make peace with the fact that I don't get to be involved in things in the way that other parents are, specifically other mothers, right? So, you know, in preschool, it's like the little preschool social, right? Well, I'm the sober mom there, right? And I already feel like I got a chip on my shoulder because these ladies are totally put together. They're well educated and, you know, they like do shit. I'm basically like a stay-at-home mom who used to be a total degenerate, right? So that's the chip on my shoulder that I had early in the kids' lives. And then from there, it's, you know, all the charity events or it's this or it's that. And then now it's having a child in college and seeing parents that go to Parents Weekend. And I've gone to Parents Weekend before, but they're going to Parents Weekend and they're wearing half tops and they're doing like beer pong and they're like doing keg stands. And I saw this a few weeks ago. Now, this isn't necessarily anything derogatory against those parents. I mean, good on you, right? I mean, the people that I saw, I know some of them, right? And they're good parents. So this isn't disparaging against them.
Right. It's just observation.
It's really what it is that there's perceived rejection, right? So I feel rejected, even though I could do that if I wanted to.
Sure.
Right?
It's not breaking the law.
No, I mean, I could go do a kickstand. And it's also just, it's perceived impunity. That's the other thing. It looks like this is like totally normal and like maybe their kids dig it, right? Like I just feel left out.
Yeah, their parents are cool.
Yeah, I feel left out. And I realized later that the reason why it was so hard for me that day, and thankfully I called a friend who was like, oh my God, yes, like, is because they're drinking the way I want to drink. That's what it is. It's mirrored back at me because it's like, man, I want to like,
have a free day real quick, a quick mulligan.
I mean, let's throw on the half top. I mean, the halter's got to be somewhere, right? And then doing the kickstands. And then, I mean, I am like, I got my arm around you, right? And like, we are like, where are we going next? Where's the blow? You know what I mean? Like, I want to get sloppy. I want to get messy. I just want it all.
Frank the Tank.
Oh,
It's
my
like
God.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Do you want to know something? Like, I chipped people's teeth when I would drink because I'd be talking like too much with my hands. This happened to two people.
Yeah.
Two people. One of them was at a wedding and I'll never forget. I mean, I straight up chipped her tooth. Like, I mean, it was like halfway down. And she was like, and I like, because I hit the bottle and the bottle hit her tooth. And we were like on the dance floor, you know what I mean? And then she was just like, oh my God, I too, and I was like, bummer. And then I like went to the other area on the dance floor.
Yeah.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, don't kill my vibe.
Oh my God, don't kill my vibe. Like, I mean, bummer. Maybe you should find a dentist. Like, I don't really know what to tell you.
Because I'm really cutting a rug right now.
Oh my God. When I got sober, I mean, years later, I saw her on Facebook and I literally had that moment where I was like, oh my God, like I totally fucked her tooth up.
Do you go and make amends at that point?
Yes, I made amends and I offered to pay for it.
Hey.
And she was like, dude, that was like 15 years ago, so don't worry about it. But I mean,
it's been fixed.
Yeah, it's been I got it taken care of. It was my front tooth that you cracked in half. Right? I mean, like for real. But yes, I mean, I'm sure you've had many of those moments where like your blood runs cold and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Just turn white, just remembering that and just being so embarrassed again.
It still happens to me.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Of
and
course.
like, and we can say like pretty confidently that like, we do get to make amends to people, but we don't get to make amends to everybody.
No.
Right? And in this day and age, I mean, we can kind of find whoever we want to find. And that's another part of recovery is like, yes, we get the opportunity to kind of make amends and to clean these messes up, but some messes will always stay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reminder. I mean, there's a whole slew of ex-boyfriends and ex-hookups that I would love to contact and try to convince them that I am not the floozy that they know that I am. Do you know what I mean? But I don't get to because they're like married. Do you know what I mean? They've moved on with their life. They're not looking for me.
No.
Right? So there's like such precision with the way that we operate in recovery. And I don't know that people actually know that, but it is such a skillful precision that can lead us to having like pretty clean lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, walking down the street without the fear of somebody tapping you on the shoulder saying, remember me, motherfucker?
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty cool feeling. That's freedom.
Did that happen to you?
What? No, I've never been tapped on the shoulder and I don't fear it anymore. I used to fear it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like that used to be a fear in my head. If I go out in public, I might run into so-and-so. Now, because the mess is cleaned up, like I don't have that fear.
Yeah. I felt that way when I used to go back to my hometown. Initially, I was just like a raw nerve. I mean, I'm really thankful because a lot of the people that I spend time with, they did like kind of their drinking and they're like young, time, newly married, newly single, whatever, in San Francisco. And I didn't do any damage in San Francisco. That city has been saved from me, right? So
marked safe.
But it's all in Chicago.
Marked safe
right?
from Kori.
Yes, marked safe from the emergency, but it was all in Chicago. So I'm really fortunate that like I burned it down a couple thousand miles away.
Sure.
Thankfully, and some time ago. But I definitely know that shame or that feeling of being super self-conscious.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning.
What a wild ride we were on, huh?
Dude, I mean, it's a trip.
I could literally talk about this with you all day long.
Well, I mean, I'm available.
Really? All day?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as long as we can get like some lunch.
Isn't it football night?
Tonight, it's funny that so that's the thing, right? Like, so now in the present day, I mean, I'm not doing PTA or anything like that. But like, yeah, I'm bringing pie and whipped cream to my son's football dinner. They have this wonderful fellowship at our local high school where they have meals together, and they're very thankful for the food, and they're thankful for the parents who brought it, right? And so it's great fellowship. So I bring food to it, and because they eat so much food, it's just like, it's horrifying how much they eat. But like, I mean, like how the mighty have fallen, right? Do you ever have moments like that where I'm like, I'm bringing pie to a football dinner, and I used to score bags of Coke on the side of Chicago. Like, what happened? Or like, I'll be like, oh, I need a couple ibuprofen. I have a headache. Should I take 2 or should I take 3? Like, you know, that kind of that reluctance to take a couple ibuprofen. When meanwhile, I mean, I was like popping pills left and right, brother.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Wait. I thought aspirin causes autism. I can't take that anymore.
This is quite the transition.
Yeah.
Right? Like where you're like, you know, you realize like how domesticated I have become.
I'm like, oh, I used to put research chemicals in my body.
Yes, absolutely. But like domesticated, but not.
Yeah.
Right? Because I still want to do.
Is this organic?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's got to be organic.
Yeah. Is this organic? Like, you know, is this free trade? I'm not like that though.
Yeah. Cage-free eggs only. Meanwhile, they're like just putting horrible things in our body.
One of my favorite things that I do on social media is I'll like make hamburger helper, and then I'll put a picture of it, and I'll be like, take that, Marin. You know, because I'm like, I'm over it. Like,
Rice-a-roni it is.
Oh, absolutely. McDonald's, Taco Bell. I mean, listen, when you get the call to go to Taco Bell, you think you're going to ignore that call?
Hell no.
Jack, that is the only thing that's going to work in that moment.
Now, do you justify it by saying I have teenagers?
No.
Oh.
No, not at all. I'm like, hey, listen, sit and spin. Sit and spin. These colors don't run. I'm not justifying my Taco Bell to you.
I love it. You are authentically Kori. Kori, it is. It's like, this is what you get.
It is what it is. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that aren't willing to go to Taco Bell, but I am.
I think there's more people that are afraid to be seen in Taco Bell, and that's why they don't go, because it's this big front and they don't want to. But secretly, they're loving the fact that like they're like, oh, I'm jealous of Kori.
They're missing it.
Yeah, because she's at Taco Bell right now with a 5-layer burrito.
I think that you might be right. I think that there's like an overall sense of surveillance that we're all experiencing, that we have to like do the right thing and say the right thing and be the right thing all the time.
So sad.
It is so sad. Sometimes I get caught up in that too, and that's one of the loneliest moments.
Of course. I mean, you go with the trends, right? Like, I think I have a Patagonia hat or something or whatever it may be. I don't think I do.
Yeah, Patagonia.
I'm a big and tall guy, though. That's the one thing I don't have to worry about, is because I can't usually buy the shit that's in anyway.
Yeah, so you're like, I don't get to wear like the Cotopaxi. I can't really see you in the Cotopaxi, to be honest with you.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a vibe like we were talking about before this. Like the true flex in Marin is like, what kind of Viore, what kind of Cotopaxi.
Oh, Viore or aloe, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, Beyond Yoga. That's a new one, too.
So the Stanley mugs are in, right?
Oh, my gosh. I mean,
But before that, you had probably had a Contigo.
No, but here's the funny thing. First of all, like everybody else, I have way too many drinking receptacles in my house.
Yeah.
Way too many. Like, I don't know why we are all thinking that water bottles as a gift or a promotion are a good idea, but that needs to end. That goes the way of the trigger. That's done. Like, when none of us need more water bottles, we're all stocked up. But now I'm like an adult that is like desperate to have water next to them all the time. It's a strange thing. I'm not the only person, but it's like almost like a security blanket.
But it's honestly, but look at the size of these things. Like, what are we crossing the fucking Mojave?
Yeah, we're crossing the fucking Mojave today, you and I. Yeah, it's got electrolytes in it too.
I believe that.
Oh, I mean, I'm full blown Marin. That's the crazy part. Like, I wake up and drink like athletic greens and like lemon water and like creatine.
That stuff's
shit
pretty
like
good
that.
though.
It is really good. But yeah, I mean, and I go to bed with like an 8 in front.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, I mean, and that's something I always share, because it's like, oh, hey, guess what? You stay sober. You get to go to bed with an 8 in front. Like, lucky you, right? Like, but yeah, I do a lot of things to keep the patient comfortable. I don't watch the news.
Ooh, that's a big one.
I don't watch it. I stopped watching in 2012.
Yeah, no, it causes a lot of stress and anxiety unnecessarily, right? I don't even know what's real anymore. So it's like, why watch it?
Well,
I got to fact check everything anyway, so why watch it?
That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was Sandy Hook. So the Sandy Hook shooting, that was one at the elementary school. My kids were elementary school age.
Oh, God.
And they were like 3 and 6.
And you're like, that's going to happen to my kids now.
I was losing it. I was losing it. I had this old like pantry, this old like storage closet in the house we used to live in. And I started to stack water cases like to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I was buying like canned
You became
food.
a doomsdayer.
It was getting really weird. And one of my friends very gently pulled me aside and was like, you might want to stop watching the news. And that's when it stopped.
Great advice.
Yeah. So you got to keep the patient comfortable.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, then we can't really help anybody else, can we?
No, but for anybody that's watching, I mean, you're so wise. You got so much to offer. I feel like you should come back on the show, or maybe be the host next season.
What?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I'll be honest. I'm not kidding.
Jack, give me a break. Knock it off.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's been an absolute pleasure. And sincerely, like, thank you for coming on today. And thank you for being so vulnerable and honest and authentic. It showed. And, like, I know the people are going to love it.
Oh, you're too kind. Thanks for having me, Jack.